What is going on, guys? It's Noah here with Custom RC Mods, back with another video. And yeah, if you haven't watched my update video, I'm back and I'm making videos quite regularly now. That's the plan, at least. And so yeah, today we've got the FT Mighty Mini Aero on the bench. And yeah, it needs a little bit of help. If you guys heard what happened to it in the update video, basically I had a receiver brownout failure straight into the ground, and this happened. And unfortunately, this happens a lot of times when you crash wings, because these wings themselves are pretty strong even when they're just made out of this foam. And these this area right here is where the seams are, so it's going to tend to break just like my Mini Aero did right here. So first things first, I'm basically just going to make this series a repair series with this plane as well. This is the FT Mighty Mini Scout that I also featured in the update video. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the basic process of how to get this thing back and flying again in a pinch. It's not going to be overly pretty or glamorous or anything like that, but it should be strong and it should return this thing to the air. But most of the time you'd probably just want to rebuild it, especially if you're just using, you know, something small like this, which is only 2 sheets of foam. So the first step in the process is going to be to go ahead and assess the damage. We're going to be looking for any structural failures that aren't going to be able to be repaired, or any electronic failures such as cut wires or any, you know, bent motor shaft or broken servos, etc. So I've already taken a good look at this, and there are a lot of wrinkles in the foam which show stress marks, of course, and you can see that this front end right here is very, very wobbly, as it's been crushed in, of course, when it went full speed into the ground. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call this plane good to go. Just got to put it back together, of course. But in terms of electronics, we need to go ahead and test it. So I've got the battery that I was using at the time of the crash, which is a 1300 milliamp hour Venom 3 cell battery. And we're going to go ahead and turn my transmitter on and plug it in. Alright, so looks like the motor has calibrated. We've got the motor, so the ESC and motor are fine for the moment, and let's go ahead and test both the servos. Looks like both servos are also fully operational. One thing, especially in wing crashes, is the servos do tend to strip out because of the large control surfaces, and they're rather exposed, so if you kind of bend it just like that, they can break. So you want to keep that in mind when you are looking for potential electrical failure in your plane. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and get as many of these components out of the way before we re-glue this thing back together. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug my receiver and my satellite and my motor and ESC combo. We're going to set all these off to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and tuck these wires back inside these in-wing cavities so that they don't get in the way when we're trying to repair this wing. I'm also going to go ahead and shove the satellite wire back into the fuselage just like so. You can see all my wires are tucked away. So now let's go ahead and just look at how this is going to go back together. It seems like it's going to be fairly straightforward. We're just going to need to use some bracing, and for that I've got a whole thing of popsicle sticks right here, and we're just going to go ahead and go crazy and make sure that this thing is really strong and it's not going to come apart again. Other things I'll be using some of this aluminum tape right here, which is really sticky and strong and also can create visibility for the aircraft. You can see I've used some on the bottom side here so I can keep orientation while I'm flying, as well as a hot glue gun right here. So let's go ahead and first start off with the flipping it over, and we're going to go ahead and use some popsicle sticks to kind of get the idea of what we're going to do. So first things first, just lay them on top just like that and glue it all back together. Alright, so now we've finished the popsicle stick splint job. As you can see, I just used 3 right here, and this top one I found really isn't that structural. It's just kind of pinning these two together. It's not holding it straight, but you can see that I've actually got a good amount of support right here. I'm using a good amount of pressure, and it's working really well. So we're going to go ahead and beef up this top side and kind of hold them together just like that, and then we're going to tape the bottom side and kind of assess some other damage that we've got going on here. But other than that, I think that we are, you know, on our way to getting this thing back into the sky. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and look in here and see there's a cavity right in here that is where the crack is. I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can fill this with glue without spilling a bunch. And that's going to just kind of make sure that all stays together if all else fails. And then I'm going to go ahead and go up and down the sides of the fuselage, especially on this side, which is the cracked side, and hopefully that will give us a little bit more support as well. Remember, at this point your plane's not going to be anything pretty, so I definitely will value structural support over, the aesthetics of this fix. So just make sure you're using a good amount of glue, especially in the areas, because you want it to be stronger. Even if some bubbles over, you're basically just doing this so you can fly the plane and not so that it looks, perfect as it is. And now we're going to go ahead and see if I can do any other things with the popsicle sticks that would give it some more support as well. So I'm actually going to go ahead and try to run a popsicle stick straight through the fuselage here. So if I do this, just like that, and then bring the popsicle stick out through the other side. Now that I have a popsicle stick here, I have something to have as an anchor point. And although we just cut a big hole in our fuselage, this is going to make the top side of this aircraft a lot more strong. So I'm going to go ahead and just tack it down with some hot glue gun on the underside. You can kind of move the popsicle stick out of the way, get some glue on it, move it back on itself, just like that. And so while this is drying, I'm actually going to go ahead and take some aluminum tape and bring it over top, just on top of the popsicle stick we just laid down, which will give it some extra security and make sure the popsicle stick doesn't just pop off of the glue I just laid down. And once again, let's go ahead and repeat that process on the bottom, just tacking the aluminum tape across the ridge just like so in 2 places. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the structural repairs. You can see after adding 4 popsicle sticks, 4 strips of aluminum tape, and a bunch of hot glue, we've basically got the aero back into its original state. Of course, it's not as beautiful, but you just got to remember at the end of the day, this is $2 worth of foam that you just crashed on the ground. So if you want something that's beautiful, you might as well rebuild the entire plane. However, I definitely recommend this repair process if you're just a beginner, because you're just probably going to crash again, and then you can discard the airframe if it's really totaled. Anyway, let's go ahead and start working on our electronics now. You can see that we've got our satellite, servo 1, and then I'm going to pick my finger in there and get out the second servo lead. There we go. And then this is the second servo lead. So let's go ahead and plug our electronics back in. I also do have to reinstall my motor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, and my ESC. And then I'll catch up with you guys when we are done with that. Alright guys, so there you have it. My mini aero repair is complete. Now of course, like I said, it's not overly beautiful. I just made some finishing touches, made a little battery tie down with this rubber band and popsicle sticks and some more aluminum tape, and I reinstalled the motor. Did some touch-ups on the electronics and my receiver placement, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. And yeah, so we're good to go. I am going to install my battery now. I don't have the Velcro in yet, but the battery tie down with the rubber band is in place. Go ahead, plug it in. Motor spools up. Obviously, I don't have a prop on because we are bench testing. Don't want to have any incidents. And we've got ailerons and our elevator. So it looks like this thing is now airworthy again. The last thing you want to do is just go ahead and check for overall your symmetry. You should probably do this as you go along, and that's pretty self-explanatory, but you want to make sure that everything is somewhat straight and trim just as you're going along. Depending on the amount of time you put into your repair, that's how it's going to turn out altogether. I put less than 15 minutes into putting this thing back together, as you saw in the video. So yeah, I can't really expect it to be completely perfect, but now is the point in the video where I'd normally want to go out and fly it. However, right now it is February and it's rainy because it's too warm to snow apparently. So yeah, we're not going to have that possible for this video. However, I am going to make another video with the flight of this, so go ahead, stay tuned for that. That'll probably be in the next few days, potentially a week at the very latest, from now. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been the FT Mighty Mini Arrow repair video. So if you guys liked it, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below what I should do next. Again, I'm taking video requests. I've done about 5 of them in the past, and I really like it when you guys show interest in my videos. Again, next video in the series is this guy. We're going to be doing a little bit more of an involved repair. We've got some fuselage damage, some wing damage, a little bit of electronical damage, so stay tuned for that. And with that all out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next one.